Hi guys, it's your Island Girl and I'm back with another reaction video for you today. And today I'm reacting to Americans don't understand British communication. Here's why. And I'm getting this one from Girl Gone London. Please go over and show her some love. The link will be in the description below so you can get straight to her channel. Tell her Island Girl sent you, all right? So I was thinking when I saw this one caught my eye and I was thinking, Americans don't understand British communication. Where's she going with this? So I'm going to find out. So come on in, right back, put a smile on your face and enjoy. To all my regular schmegulars, day one, to the pie, to the poos. Come on in, right back, put a smile on your face and enjoy. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. All right. Guys, if you hear the noise in the background, my kiddos are outside sledding. They're having a ball. It's Veterans Day and they're having fun. All right, so that's the noise you hear. So let's get into this video. Here we go, right about now.
In my American brain, I thought, if you wanted me to do that, you should have just said. The first time I realized there was going to be a problem, my coworker in the UK said to me, "Hey, can you check if the upstairs window is open?" And this was just before we were about to leave the office to go to a meeting. I was new, I was fresh-faced, I was young. I mean, I was younger. I like to think I'm still young. But anyway, I was also American, and I had no real idea why they cared if the upstairs window was open because there were a few other people still in the office. But I was like, sure thing, person above me in seniority, I will go check if the upstairs window is open. So I walked upstairs and I looked at it and it was open. So I walked downstairs and I said, just checked, it's open. And they sort of stared at me and said, did you close it? And I stared back and I said,
Nope.
No. And they stared back even harder and said, could you go back and close it then? And I was like, sure, no problem. Now you're asking me to close the window, so I will go and carry out this instruction, no problem. It was quite a bit later when I realized that they were attempting to communicate with the first ask of, can you check if the window is open, that they wanted me to close the window. In my American brain, I thought, if you wanted me to do that, you should have just said. This is one of the many examples I've accumulated over the years of how Americans often struggle with British indirect communication. Compared to the Brits, Americans are very literal beings. And to a Brit, that can come across as Americans being dumb, but I'm here to assure you that there are many reasons why Americans can be dumb, but this actually isn't one of them. You see, communication is based on culture, and there's a fascinating theory about high context and low context cultures. To be a high context culture means that there's a lot of indirect communication. It requires less explicit and laid out in front of your face communication. It relies on a shared understanding of experiences and hidden meanings, and it's all about subtlety and reading in between lines. A low context culture, on the other hand, values direct, straight talking communication with little room for hidden meanings. It's a culture that expects you to take things literally when they are communicated and not have to read too far into what someone actually means because they're just going to tell you. This continuum is a spectrum. Different countries are along the high context and low context spectrum. It's not just black and white, but the US trends towards the low context end. That is the end that requires direct communication. And the UK trends towards the high context end, allowing for a lot of implicit meaning. And it has nothing to do with intellect. Think about the histories and the makeup of the two countries themselves. I go to buildings in the UK all the time that are hundreds of years older than the US even is as a country. And while the UK is certainly changing over time in the makeup of its citizens, its history is that of homogeny, i.e., a lot of people with shared backgrounds and understandings and a lot of history to back all of this up. This kind of history creates a high context culture where subtleness can thrive. Compare this to the US, which is genuinely founded on being the land of immigrants, of people coming from a lot of different places and with a much shorter history as a country, and you've got yourself the perfect makings of a low context culture. We rely on direct communication in the US with little hidden meaning because this is the most effective way to communicate between people from different backgrounds and with different shared histories, and sometimes in the beginning even different languages. Here's an example. A study had UK and US respondents talk about their perceptions of a statement to see what they thought it meant. The first statement was the phrase, That's an interesting idea. 3 in 4 Americans believed this meant that their idea is impressive, because that is what that statement is directly communicating. That is an interesting idea. So I think you're saying that my idea is interesting. Compare that with the UK respondents. 1 out of 3 of them actually felt there was hidden meaning there, that you were saying actually their idea was not good. There are entire charts online to help people who move to the UK figure out what in the world British people are actually saying.
Wow, hold on. There are charts online to help people figure out what they're really saying in the UK, if you don't get it. I will agree with her when she said that America is on the low spectrum. You know why? My kids are a prime example. Prime example. Sean. Let's go with Sean, 13-year-old. If I look at Sean and say, Sean, can you go and look if you see the hair oil in the bathroom? He'll go and he'll look for that hair oil, guys. And he'll come back and say, yes, it's in the bathroom. And I'd look at him and say, why didn't you take it to me? His exact answer would have been to me, you did not tell me to take it to you. You told me to look at it. Look to see if it's there. And I'm like, doesn't common sense tell you that I need it? Why would I ask you to look if it's there? And he'll get upset and say, why didn't you just say that? And I'm like, okay now. So he is correct. So when you look at it, I will be more on the British side. And my kids are on the American side when it comes to communication. And it's a struggle inside my house when I say something to the kids. But I can understand why I would be that way coming from Jamaica, because we've adapted so much of the British culture. And, you know, I think it's similar in a lot of the stuff that we do. So I know I'm going on, guys, but I'm just like, that is so true. And it's not just my kids. I've dealt with so many Americans here, and that's exactly how they are. Period, point blank.
The same charts don't exist for people moving to America because we don't need a chart. We're just going to tell you.
Yep.
Americans will typically say if we don't like something or if we do. Obviously, there's a ton of nuance here when it comes down to region and personality. Typically, the East Coast in America tends to be more direct than the West Coast, for example. And there are classic examples of hidden meanings in America as well. A very famous one is a statement in the South where you say, bless their heart. This can mean that you think fondly of the person and would like to bless their heart, but it can also mean you think the person is the stupidest person you've ever met. And you do need some tonal cues to figure out which one is which. But on the whole, in the US, we like to get to the point. If we think you're great.
I know I just paused. That's a good one. Oh, Lord, bless her heart. I'm sorry, it's the way she said it, but she's right. It's based on how it's been said. The cues are there. Because how I said it, me like she's a dumb bird. That's a dumb bird right there. That one have no clue. That's the way I said it. That's what it means. And I'll just say, bless her heart. Meaning, I wish her all the wish her well, or you know what, because maybe she's hurt and I'm like, oh, I feel it. So it's a form of empathy. So she is right on this, man. I've never seen anybody explain it like this before, and I'm glad she's explaining. That's why I love her content, the way she explains stuff, because I wouldn't even realize there's a difference between the kids and I'm just thinking, Lord, they don't have no common sense, or our people here don't have no common sense. Interesting.
We'll tell you, and not in a sort of hidden coded language way, but in a, hey man, I think you're awesome and doing a great job kind of way. It's direct and doesn't leave room for confusion over whether someone is telling you you're doing a great job but actually thinks you're terrible. Similar with directions. If we want you to close the window, we'll say, hey, can you close the window? And this is the communication style I was used to Hence my confusion and my first anecdote. However, the confusion usually only comes in for foreign visitors or new arrivals in the UK. A high context culture like the UK isn't confusing to those that are raised and exist within it because they are raised to understand these hidden meanings and to talk this way. And in fact, the indirectness in the UK is sort of seen as part of the British charm. It reflects a value within the country of sort of downplaying things and having what is almost seen as good manners. In the US, it's not considered bad manners to be direct because we value that direct communication highly as part of our culture. Again, it's one of those things where we're not saying either country is wrong or smarter or any number of judgments. We're just exploring why things are the way they are. The types of communications used work well within both countries. You just get into a bit of trouble when they get mixed. I do question the number of times someone has told me something is quite good in the UK and I celebrated, because in the US, that would mean it was really good, or at least pretty good. In the UK, it can mean that was average or that was not good at all. And you have to use a combination of body language and tone to figure it out. Now, again, like I talked about, this low context and high context scale, it's a spectrum. And compared to some other cultures, the UK can be considered a low context culture. There is still a degree of directness that is in UK communication that isn't in some other countries that require even more use of body language and implicit understanding. But the UK is a much higher context culture than the US, and that's what we're comparing in this video. Other higher context cultures than the UK, aka ones that have even more hidden meanings, are places like Japan, China, much of Africa, as well as some other European countries like France. In addition to the US on the low context,
I can see those countries that she just named as being on the high spectrum. Just based on how they interact within themselves and then interact with people on the outside. I can see it. I really can. But like she said, it all boils down to where you're from. If you grew up with that kind of communication, it won't seem different to you. Unlike a foreigner coming in, they can pinpoint the difference, and you go into somebody else's territory or a different country, you will see the difference. So it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. And body language, tone has a lot to do with the delivery in what they say.
Context end of the spectrum, we have places like Canada, Switzerland, and Germany. Other examples of this indirect style of communication in the UK that I found, some of which are pretty funny, are: Number 1, when Brits say it's not quite what we expected, what they mean is this is an absolute disaster bearing zero relation to what we need, and we are incredulous as to how you would even think this is appropriate. Americans would take the phrase, it's not quite what we expected, and believe that means they just need a little bit more work until it is what you expect. It also goes for invitations. So if you bump into an American and you haven't seen them in a long time, and at the end you say, we should get together soon, an American is going to believe that invitation is actually coming. This is direct communication. You say we should get together soon, you mean it, they're going to reach out and arrange it. Often in the UK, this is just a throwaway phrase to end a conversation or a situation, and you both know that you're not going to be getting together anytime soon. It goes unsaid. It's a shared understanding that you're not actually saying what you're meaning. Other examples.
Listen to me. To me, when she explained the British way, it to me it's like a subtle blow. It just it's subtle. Look here, I don't want to be that too blunt, but subtle and nice, at the same time. I know I ain't gonna meet up with you, but I say, we should catch up. But you know what I mean? Like, don't take it the wrong way, don't get it twisted, but for those in the British community would have understand exactly what that person said, but an outsider, they take it literal because in their country they see it another way. When she said, that's not what we expected. Definitely an American would say, we just need to fix it a little bit and improve it and we'll be good. But yet still on the Brit side say, that's a massive disaster. Look at the contrast between it. They're big. It's When you really listen to her, it's like one is at point A and one is at point Z in their communication level. Wow.
Examples are someone saying to each their own. This does not mean to each their own. Sometimes in the UK, it can mean you're wrong, but never mind. An American would listen to this and be like, yeah, that's a nice statement. Everybody gets their own opinion, to each their own. They're not necessarily going to read into the negative connotation of a statement like that.
So, to each their own. That's how a Jamaica, like I said, I'm more fitting on the British side of communication than on the American side, because that's what we'll say in Jamaica, to each your own. That means, look, what you say wrong, what me say right. It has nothing to do with it's nice that you, nope, no. A Jamaican say that point blank, just like a British person. You're wrong, I'm right. Period. There's no going around it. This is very interesting.
What about if someone says in the UK, I'm just popping out for lunch, does anyone want anything? This is not an actual question. This is a statement that means I'm getting my lunch, please remain silent. Or if someone in the UK says, that conference was rather disorganized, an American would probably take this as it was a little bit disorganized, because an American would say that conference was absolute chaos, which is probably what a Brit would be meaning by that statement. They've just toned it way down and used a sort of indirect language to describe what is happening. Wow. And a classic one in the UK workforce, someone might say, just whenever you get a minute. This is hugely difficult for people used to direct communication to understand. Typically, this is a British indirect way of saying, do this now. But if it's taken at face value, it means this is actually of lesser importance than what you might be working on right now. So when you get a minute, even if it's not now, can you eventually get around to this task? As an American who moved to the UK.
So when she explained that a while ago, that one I wouldn't have gotten. Unless I'm frustrated and say it that way, that means I need it to get done. When I say, well, I guess she's right. Delivery, body language, and tone would tell you exactly what it really means. Because if I say to my kids in a soft, subtle way, maybe, or just saying, oh, when you get around to it, get this done, that means they can take their time because it's not of utter importance. But if I'm like, okay, when you get around to it, then I'm like, that means whatever you do, you need to drop that and get this done. So yeah, but I that one caught me, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that one didn't caught me the way she look like. Because even though her tone did not tell me it needed to be done right now. So I think some of the cues I wouldn't catch if I was there in Britain and somebody talking to me.
Hey, I struggled so much with this one. If they wanted me to do this now, why couldn't they just say, do this now? Yeah. Now that brings me to the end of this video. Thanks very much for watching. If you're British, leave your comments below on what you might say versus what you might actually mean in different situations. I'd love to hear your examples, but I hope this video kind of explains a little bit for people on both sides of the pond about how and why we communicate the way we do. I'm not sure I will ever fully get used to British communication styles because I've been here 10 years and sometimes I'm still confused, but I'm getting better. Don't worry. I'm slowly learning.
I love this video. I am not gonna sit back and tell you I didn't learn anything a while ago. I get to understand my UK family way much better than before and see that I'm similar to them in a sense. That's why I love you guys so much, you know? Girl Gone London, she really, really explained it very well and showed the differences between the two countries, because when you stop to think about it, it's direct. It's just, you're just going to tell them like it is and they take it like it is. Unlike with the Brits, they mean something totally different. Their thing is different. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Give examples, like she said. Give examples in the comment section, guys, and let me see if I can decipher them. If I can't, when I answer you in the comment section, please answer me back and say, Island girl, no, you're wrong. You're off on this one. But I can see the difference between the low and the higher way of understanding and communicating with each other based on different cultural experience or different country experience, and the way of communication that you grow up with outside of somebody else out of your country, it makes a whole lot of sense. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Guys, if you'd like to be a member to the channel, just to support the channel in any way, shape, or form, and get your request in earlier than anyone else. That's some of the perks that are offered. The link will be in the description below, or you can just hit that link, or you can hit the join that is on the channel and become a member to the channel. I'd really love to have you on board. All right. Not only that, guys, be good, be kind. Let me know what you'd like me to check out next. Your girl got you. Love you guys. Love each other. And I'll catch you guys in another video. Bye.